What's going on, guys? So we're in week 5 of our study called Stronger Together, and we're talking about this idea that the Lord added to the number of the early church daily. And our scripture today comes from Acts 2. It's 47, the last part of 47. If you've been following along with us, we've seen how the church has grown and how the church grew through prayer, through gathering together daily to singing songs of praise and worshiping God. And the whole idea is that we would look at the early church and go, what can we do today that they did back then to stay grounded in our faith and continue to grow deeper in our understanding of who God is? And so the scripture today says, and the Lord added to their number daily those who are being saved. And that's from Acts 2:47. And I want you to note that the first part of that says, and the Lord added to their number daily. It was and always has been about God's work. Bottom line, that's it. God's the one adding to his number. Now that might sound selfish to you, but that's it. That's how it works. God is selfish because he loves us so much. He can be selfish with us. He wants us. He desires us. He's going to run after us as long as he can, as long as he will, and he'll never stop. And the early church was attracted by that. They were attracted by how the disciples and the groups of people met together. They were attractive by their never-ending desire to know more about Jesus. Now, I want you to know that these early disciples and these folks that were learning about God still had questions. They still asked, why Jesus? They still asked, how did he perform these miracles? What's this everlasting life? What's this fountain of living water? They still had all these questions about Jesus. I mean, it was fresh for them. It was, within years, and the early church was growing, and these people were still they still had vivid memories of the miracles and the things that Jesus did. And they still ask these questions, and it's okay to ask these questions. We're not going to have all the answers. But the early church was so attractive, not because of its grand cathedral, its amazing lighting rigs and sound systems and all that. It was probably somewhat grungy like my basement is here. But in the muck of the world, ministry was happening. And the attractiveness wasn't because of all the glamour and the latest technology. It was simply because of the people. The early church was about Jesus. It was about prayer. It was about generosity. It was about fellowship. It was about worship. It was about community. And that is what was so attractive to others. Now you might ask, so we're in this quarantine, where do we go from here? And that's a great question, because it's very hard when we're stuck. But we can still point people to Jesus in the midst of this crazy world we're living in. We can still be about fellowship. We can still be about prayer. We can still be about generosity. We can still be about love and evangelism. We can still be the light of the world, even when it seems dark, right? And so I want to challenge you guys this week, and as we kind of wrap up the Stronger Together series, is how can we point or make our small groups more about Jesus? How can we morph them to be more like the early church, more about prayer and accountability and generosity and fellowship and love, even in the midst of this quarantine and even in the midst of this coronavirus? How can we be the early church and small groups of the early church, a student ministry of the early church? How can we be a church of the early church and point people to Jesus? So that's your challenge this week. Have a great week. We're going to talk about this on Wednesday night in our small group time. If we don't have small groups because of the hurricane and the rain, then we're going to try to jump on and do this next Wednesday. But something cool coming up, if you've made it this far in the video, we are actually going to do live outdoor worship this Wednesday. So you don't want to miss out. You do want to meet and you do want to join us, but you don't want to miss out. So guys, we love y'all. Have an awesome rest of the week, and we'll see you soon.